Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Driving Insights Podcast by M5 Management Services, where we cover ways for your fixed operations department to gain efficiency, customer retention, and long-term profitability. I'm your host, Tim Harkins, brand manager here at M5 Management Services, and on today's show, we'll talk about how pay plans shape advisor behavior, customer interactions, and overall shop performance, and why the right structure is key to long-term success. So buckle up. You're listening to Driving Insights. Now, before we get started with today's episode, I have an urgent question for you. Are you ready to take your career to the next level? The Complete Service Manager Workshop is almost full, and there's only 10 spots left. If you want to increase profitability, improve efficiency, and become the leader your team needs, this is your chance. In just 5 days, you'll gain advanced financial strategies, logistical solutions, and personnel management techniques that will help transform your service department. Led by industry expert Lee Harkins, this hands-on workshop will give you real-world strategies that you can apply immediately. Opportunities like this don't come around often, and when these 10 seats are gone, they're gone for good. Don't wait until it's too late. Secure your spot now at www.m5ms.com and take control of your future. Compensation structures define behavior. Whether a business intends for it to happen or not, people follow the money. If a dealership's pay plan is designed to manage employees rather than drive performance, the only thing employees will manage is their paycheck. That's a simple truth that plays out across the industry every single day. And most service advisors operate under some kind of commission-based pay structure, typically tied to the number of hours sold or total dollars per repair order. On the surface, this makes sense. Pay more for higher performance, and employees will naturally push themselves to be more productive. But that's not what actually happens in most dealerships. When pay plans focus solely on productivity, advisors don't always work harder or smarter. They work to hit their personal financial goals and then slow down. Many advisors reach a level of earnings they're comfortable with, and once they do, they stop pushing. Instead of looking for ways to bring in more work or improve the customer experience, they shift into maintenance mode, ensuring they keep making what they expect while avoiding extra effort. At the same time, some advisors work the system from the opposite angle. Instead of backing off, they overextend themselves, taking on as much volume as possible with little regard for customer service. They know that if they process a certain number of repair orders, they'll hit their pay targets. Even if that means rushing through customer interactions, failing to build trust, or simply pushing paperwork instead of focusing on what's best for the shop. Either way, the end result is the same. Customer service takes a backseat to financial strategy. Customers become numbers, and advisors become pay plan managers rather than true service professionals. When an advisor is more concerned with how a conversation affects their next paycheck than with solving the customer's problem, something's wrong. The best pay structures aren't built just to reward productivity. They're built to support the behaviors that lead to a strong, profitable service department. That means ensuring advisors stay motivated beyond their personal earnings goals and remain engaged in delivering great customer experiences every day. And there's frustration that dealership leaders voice time and time again. Why is it that fast food employees working for minimum wage can consistently deliver a friendly, immediate greeting to every customer, yet service advisors making six-figure incomes in some cases struggle with this basic level of customer engagement? It doesn't make sense on the surface. Service advisors should be more motivated to acknowledge customers. They should be the first ones to greet people as they walk in, ready to establish trust and set the tone for the entire service experience. And yet, in many dealerships, customers step onto the drive and just wait. Some wait minutes before someone looks up. Some are outright ignored. The natural reaction is to assume the problem is training. Maybe advisors haven't been taught the importance of first impressions. Maybe they don't understand how much a simple greeting can impact customer retention. But training isn't the problem. Advisors already know they should acknowledge customers. They've heard it in every meeting. They understand the expectation. The real issue is that the pay structure doesn't require it. The fast food worker doesn't greet customers because they're highly trained or deeply engaged. They do it because it's built into their job. It's part of a structured process that happens automatically, regardless of motivation or personal earnings goals. The system ensures consistency. In contrast, many service advisors are left to manage their own workflow, focusing on whatever they believe will maximize their pay. If greeting a customer doesn't directly impact their paycheck, then it becomes a secondary concern. And if an advisor is paid purely based on completed repair orders, anything that doesn't contribute to that number, including a proper greeting, feels like extra work. This is why service managers need more than just service level solutions. Programs like the Complete Service Manager Workshop focus on helping leaders structure their departments so that the right behaviors become second nature, not optional. It's not just about training, it's about implementing systems that ensure accountability and engagement. And it's not for lack of knowledge, it's lack of alignment. The way an advisor gets paid dictates what they prioritize. When greeting a customer is treated as an optional task rather than an essential part of their role, customer service suffers. The solution isn't to micromanage every interaction, though, nor is it to simply demand better service. The solution is to create a structure where customer engagement is just as valuable as closing an RO. When pay plans reinforce customer-first behavior, that behavior becomes the standard. And every dealership wants motivated employees. They want advisors who take ownership of their role, push for high performance, and consistently deliver strong customer experiences. But motivation isn't just about personality or work ethic, it's about incentives. Pay structures tell advisors what's important. They shape priorities and define success. If a dealership pays purely on RO volume, then volume will become the top priority. If they pay based on hours sold, then maximizing labor will take precedence. These aren't bad things on their own, but when compensation is too narrowly focused, it creates blind spots. Consider an advisor who's paid based on total hours per repair order. On one hand, this could encourage them to sell additional services and ensure technicians are fully utilized. But it could also mean they cherry-pick jobs, avoiding simple services because they don't contribute enough to their commission. It could mean they pressure customers into unnecessary work, leading to distrust and poor long-term retention. On the flip side, a dealership that factors in all services, including things like first-time oil changes, could find their advisors pushing volume without concern for quality. If an advisor knows they get paid no matter what, there's no incentive to focus on high-value work. They might burn through quick services, neglecting opportunities to build relationships or provide real value to the customer. Neither extreme is good for business, and a pay plan should encourage efficiency, engagement, and service quality all at once. It should drive behavior that benefits both the dealership and the customer, ensuring that advisors stay focused on what really matters. When compensation is structured properly, advisors don't have to think about whether an interaction is worth their time. They just do the right thing because the system supports it. That's the difference between a dealership that thrives and one that constantly struggles with advisor engagement. Now, discussions about pay plans often bring strong opinions. Some believe the current system works just fine. Others think it needs a complete overhaul. But what's undeniable is that compensation influences behavior, and many of the challenges dealerships face can be traced back to how advisors are paid. At an industry training session, a young professional spoke up about this issue. They pointed out the direct connection between pay structures, retention, and overall profitability, sparking an intense conversation among the group. Some pushed back, insisting that if advisors weren't on commission, they'd lose all motivation. Others acknowledged that pay plans were creating unintended problems, but weren't sure how to fix them. What stood out most wasn't just the debate itself, it was how quickly the discussion took over the room. Dealership leaders recognized that pay was shaping advisor behavior in ways they hadn't fully considered. They saw that their own systems might be contributing to customer service struggles and retention issues. And once that realization set in, it became clear that this wasn't just an isolated problem. It was industry-wide. When pay plans are designed primarily to control employees, employees push back by managing their paychecks instead. It's human nature. The challenge isn't just about changing compensation, it's about shifting the mindset from short-term gains to long-term success. A pay plan should be a guide, not a barrier. It should encourage advisors to do what's best for the customer without making them feel like they're sacrificing their earnings in the process. The best dealerships understand this and structure their pay models accordingly. And if your pay plans are creating more headaches than results, we can help. Our consultants specialize in designing compensation structures that drive performance, improve customer service, and keep your advisors engaged. We'll work with you to create a system that supports efficiency and long-term profitability. So get started with a free consultation at www.m5ms.com today. Every service manager has faced the frustration of an advisor who stops taking in work when they feel like they've hit their limit. On paper, advisors should want to maximize their RO count. More repair orders should mean more pay. More pay should mean more motivation. But that's not how it actually works. Advisors don't just manage their workload based on shop capacity. They manage it based on their own psychological comfort level. If they feel overwhelmed, they shut down. If they're worried about getting buried in work they can't push through, they start turning away customers, even if the shop still has room. It's a logical reaction. When the volume gets too high, advisors aren't just juggling repair orders, they're juggling phone calls, technician questions, and customer expectations. If they don't have confidence in the shop's ability to turn work around quickly, their first instinct is to control the flow by slowing it down. Managers often struggle to understand this. From a leadership perspective, an advisor on commission should be chasing every possible RO, right? More work should mean more earnings. But advisors aren't just thinking about money, they're thinking about workload balance, stress levels, and the path of least resistance. Then there's a group of advisors who take a different approach entirely. Some don't worry about workload at all. They just want their name on as many tickets as possible, knowing they'll get paid eventually. These advisors are often seen as high performers because their numbers look great on paper, but their customer service scores tell a different story. They're prioritizing volume over experience, pushing as much work as possible with little concern for relationships or retention. Now, both behaviors, advisors shutting down and advisors chasing volume without quality, are symptoms of the same issue. They're reacting to the way their pay is structured. If a dealership wants consistent performance, they have to address the psychological side of service throughput, not just the numbers. Now, let's be clear, not all advisors are driven the same way. Some thrive under high pressure, commission-heavy structures. Others do better with consistency and stability. But when a dealership's pay model doesn't align with its expectations, the system breaks down. A high-performing advisor in one store might struggle in another simply because the compensation plan doesn't match the workflow. If an advisor is paid strictly on commission but doesn't feel they have the right tools, support, or shop capacity to succeed, they'll either check out or look for ways to manipulate the system. That's not a performance problem, that's a pay structure problem. One of the biggest issues is the lack of direct connection between an advisor's earnings and the customer experience they provide. If an advisor can make the same amount of money regardless of how well they take care of customers, there's no built-in motivation to go the extra mile. They might still want to do a good job, but if the pay plan doesn't encourage it, then other priorities will take over. Now, on the other hand, if an advisor's pay is too rigidly structured around customer satisfaction scores, it can create a different set of problems. Some might start cherry-picking customers, avoiding difficult situations that could hurt their numbers. Others might game the system, pressuring customers into giving perfect scores rather than earning them through genuine service. The balance is critical. Performance and pay should be directly connected, but in a way that promotes consistency, engagement, and long-term growth. If a dealership is constantly battling advisor disengagement, inconsistent customer experiences, and unpredictable throughput, the pay structure is usually the root cause. Now, even the best service advisors can't be effective if the shop itself isn't operating efficiently. Many dealerships focus heavily on front-end performance, advisor productivity, customer interactions, and RO generation, but fail to address the logistical side of getting work through the shop. That's where dispatching and workflow management come into play. A poorly managed shop leads to delays, frustration, and advisors who stop trusting the system. If an advisor knows that sending a ticket back will result in long wait times, unclear technician availability, or inconsistent turnarounds, they're going to start filtering what work they accept. They'll hesitate to write repair orders, knowing that bottlenecks will create unnecessary headaches. The number of carryovers a shop has each day is often the first indicator of a problem. If unfinished work is constantly rolling over to the next day, it's a sign that either capacity is being mismanaged, the dispatching process is flawed, or technicians aren't being utilized properly. Now, there's no one-size-fits-all solution here. Some shops thrive with a central dispatch system, where one person manages technician assignments across a large team. Others work better with a lateral support model, where group leaders oversee smaller technician teams. The key is ensuring that whatever system is in place actually supports the way the shop operates. Technician to dispatcher ratios matter too. If a central dispatcher is juggling more than 15 or 20 technicians, things start slipping through the cracks. If a group leader is handling more than 4 to 5 techs, oversight becomes inconsistent. These are small details that often get overlooked, but they have a massive impact on overall shop performance. And that's why many dealerships turn to consulting services like M5 to help restructure their shop flow. Optimizing dispatching, technician workloads, and repair order routing doesn't just improve efficiency. It reduces advisor hesitation and keeps work moving smoothly through the service lane. Advisors need confidence in the system as well. If they know that work will get processed efficiently, they'll be more willing to take in additional customers. If they don't, they'll start self-regulating their workload and everything slows down. A dealership's dispatching strategy isn't just an operational concern, it directly impacts advisor behavior and customer experience. Now, as we always say, retention is everything. A service department can't survive on one-time customers. Every decision and every interaction should be made with long-term loyalty in mind. But too often, the focus is on short-term gains, quick transactions, and squeezing as much revenue as possible out of a single visit. That's the mistake. Customer advocacy isn't just a buzzword, it's what separates successful dealerships from struggling ones. If customers feel like they're being sold instead of served, they won't come back. If they feel like they're just another number on an advisor's pay sheet, they'll take their business elsewhere. Advisors need to be trained, but more importantly, they need to be involved. Weekly meetings with customer-facing employees aren't just about reviewing numbers. They're about creating an open dialogue. The best ideas often come from people who are on the front lines every single day. They know where the bottlenecks are. They know what customers are frustrated about. They know what's working and what isn't. But if they aren't given a platform to share those insights, nothing changes. Keeping things simple is often the best strategy. Overcomplicated processes lead to inconsistent execution. The goal should be to create a workflow that makes it easy for advisors to do the right thing without feeling like they have to fight the system. Retention isn't about gimmicks or customer discounts either. It's about trust. It's about ensuring that every visit feels effortless, professional, and consistent. When advisors don't have to think about whether they're getting paid enough to provide good service, when the pay plan supports customer-first behavior naturally, everything improves. The best dealerships aren't just reacting to problems as they happen. They're proactively refining their systems, ensuring that pay structures, workflow management, and customer engagement strategies all work together. The dealerships that get this right don't just have satisfied customers, they have loyal ones. And in a competitive industry, that makes all the difference. Now, if you're a service manager, fixed ops director, or general manager looking to take control of your service department's performance, you need Rose Plus. This powerful repair order survey and evaluation software gives you unmatched financial visibility, helping you fine-tune pricing, improve advisor performance, and uncover hidden revenue opportunities, all with seamless DMS integration. Get the insights you need to drive real results. Visit www.m5ms.com to learn more and request a demo today. Now, before we go, it's time for this week's homework. We've put together an 8-point action plan for refining your pay plans to improve advisor engagement, service efficiency, and customer retention. You can find it in the show notes and on our website, www.m5ms.com, under the Driving Insights section. There you'll see the full episode list and a link to download the guide. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it and thank you for listening. I've been your host, Tim Harkins, brand manager here at M5 Management Services. As always, if you have any questions or topic suggestions or may be interested in how M5 could help your fixed operations department, please contact us on our website, www.m5ms.com. Make sure to tune in next time where we'll talk about more industry topics that will help drive your fixed operations department to increased efficiency, customer retention, and long-term profitability. Thank you, everyone. This has been Driving Insights.